Yo, what's up YouTube? This is Lone for Cards again. Doing a poker vlog here at Stones Live Poker on December 1st. I was able to play this game live. It's a 5-5-10 game and it was pretty fun. So I'm going to go over some of the hands I went through. So hopefully you guys can watch and tell me if I played something the way that I should have played or not. Just give me your thoughts, comment down, and let's review some of the hands. All right, I'm gonna review this hand here, and pretty much it checked all the way through with the blinds. I called $10, and a guy next to me, Basie, he, if you guys watched the Stones Life stream, he was on Wednesday, and he was really playing very loose. So whatever he bet out, I was pretty much calling him with any two cards at this point, and if I hit, I knew I was gonna be good. So here comes, I had a 9-5 of diamonds, and I pretty much just missed everything at this point. I check it over to see what he's gonna do. At this point, it was sort of like a trying to figure out how he's betting and what he's betting with. And since we can watch this live stream while we're playing, which is like a 15 to 30 minute delay, I sort of wanted to play this hand out to see what he was playing with. So right here, he checked turn and the river paired to 8, and I bet out. And the reason why I bet out is I paired to 8s. I figured, hey, any pair would be good. And since obviously now you can see he has a king, I didn't know he had a king, so he sort of played it pretty sneaky. So he sort of sneaked it through. Obviously he missed the flop turn. He just checked it. He was trying to slow play his king, and I bet out 125 to see if I can get through with this. And basically does play a little bit slower than usual. We look at each other for a little bit, like staring down. He's trying to like break me down at this point. He's a really cool guy though, by the way. Like we were chatting the whole time. We're just having fun and just chatting. And he was trying to tell me like, what do you have? You have the 8? Do you have the 8? He's trying to try to make me talk. So I just kept it quiet to see what he would do, and he instant called there. Well, not an instant call, but he called me there, and then we're waiting for Turtle, which is Davo, to turn, and I said, "You're good," and he showed me the king, and I was sort of like, "Huh, okay." A nice hand. That's sort of like a feeler bet to see where he was at, and then that way I can watch the video to see like what went on here. So this was just more of a figuring out what he's betting with and how he's betting, and you'll see later on what happens for that. All right, so this is the next hand that I'm gonna talk about. I had a6 of diamonds. Uh, Pretty much the blinds are 5-5-10, and the guy to my right, he straddled for 20, so I made it 75 to go. And I was playing tight pretty early in the session, even before the live game was streaming, and I had a really tight image. So I was showing that, hey, I'm gonna raise 75 under the gun. It's like pretty much proving people, hey, I have a really strong hand. So that's why Casey didn't like me betting a6 under the gun, because obviously you do want to get a suited connector, yada yada yada. But at this point, I sort of wanted to make that image. Hey, I'm a tight player. If I bet, I sort of wanted that respect that people to fold. But we end up getting four people calling this hand, 5 people calling total to call this hand. So I was like, okay, at this point, if I hit something, I'm gonna bet out. Even if I didn't hit something, I'm gonna bet out. So, and seeing that the flop was pretty much it was pretty loose. Unless you have a queen at this point, you should be good. So I see bet it out 175. Figuring that I can represent queen, kings, and aces. Other people fold, and then comes to the wolf. He had a pair of queens, makes a call. So at this point, he made an instant call on that. So I figured that he has a queen or he has a flush draw. Turn comes up 5. Doesn't help anybody. So I continue on betting 300 right here to see exactly where he was at. So I bet 300, and then as soon as he started counting his chips out, he started talking to me. He started talking. He's like, "Oh, what can you possibly have?" So he was putting me on kings and aces at this point. For him to take this long, I knew he had a queen. I knew he had a queen. The kicker wise, I couldn't really tell. I would figure that he had a weak queen. So I and the river came, I sort of messed up. I wanted to make it 450, but I ended up betting 300 because I thought I grabbed the whole chips and I only ended up exactly 300 again. So at this point, I'm like, oh crap! Like I think I bet too little for it to get away with this. But since he has top pair, and he was saying, you have to have kings or aces here. You have to have kings or aces. So I was gonna let him go, but I think I bet too little. I think since I bet too little, the pot was just already huge. It was over 1K at that point, and for him to get 3 to 1, 4 to 1 at this point, it was a pretty much an easy call for him. So so he was still debating, like it was so close. He was so close to folding right here. He told me after he almost folded, but he showed his queen with 10 kicker. Then I looked at it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I did sort of put you on a queen, and I thought on a fold, and that's the frustration of me not betting enough on the river. So I sort of not got away with that one. So that was totally my fault on that one. So that was a bad bet structure in the river. All right, this is a bomb pot here. So every time when we get a new dealer change, everyone puts in $50. So the pot is like automatically 400. So it's really hard to put anybody on any hands because anybody can have any cards at this point. And then the flop comes out, Queen Jack Queen. I have King Jack and I have a Jack right here, and the table here is pretty loose. There's a couple people that are not as loose, but most of them are loose. So depending on who actually bets out here, I'm gonna call no matter what. So I wait. I think I was this position right now. The button was on Robert. So I was like under the gun, pretty much. I was like sort of like under the gun plus one, and then we check through here, and then Wolf here bets out, and figuring Wolf can, he does make a lot of plays. So I knew that okay, he can make a play here. I think if someone did have a queen here, I think they will make it a lot bigger than just $80, because the pot's already 400, right? So you sort of don't want other people to chase. If you have a queen, if I had a queen here, I would bet out 250. That's how I would have bet, or I would have raised here at this point at 250, or just smooth called at this point. But I just call it out, and I sort of wanted to get other people to call to see if they have a queen or a jack, and waiting for someone to re-raise. So, but betting $80 and just calling the two of us to call, it gives them a good idea. Okay, so AC definitely doesn't have a queen, so the wolf definitely doesn't have queen. I don't think he's gonna bet out that little for the queen. So when it checks out to the turn and then the river comes, AC was first to act. And at this point, I knew I was good all the way. Obviously, I have a full house. I was good all the way. And whatever we bet out, since the wolf was behind me, I sort of wanted to just call here. He bet at 210. I wanted to raise him, but I wanted to call just to get extra $210. Because I was going to repop him if it was just heads up. But since Wolf was in there, I sort of wanted to get a call to get an extra 200. Because I know if I re-raised, he would have folded anyway. So I was just trying to get an extra 210 at this point. So that's how this hand played out. All right, here's the next hand. Well, not I don't keep on saying next hand. Here's the next hand that we're going to talk about. I'm in a small blind with pocket fours, and it goes all the way around. AC races to 40. We get a call. I make a call for the 35 more dollars. Baisley is next to me. He makes a call. Or actually, he pops it to. So this is actually a pretty interesting hand. Sorry. So he makes it to 100, 160. He three bets to 160. So I limped in with four. I was a small one with fours. I called the 35 to make it 40. So Baisley on the left, as we know, very loose player, made it to 160. Then the turtle makes a call, aka Davo makes a call, and then the wolf makes the call. I think the wolf makes a call or AC makes a call. I forget one of them makes a call. No, I think Wolf folds, and I think AC makes a call, right? So because now where it's 4-1, usually in the pocket fours and early position in a small blind, pocket fours usually just buck it like 90% of the times. But since I'm getting such a good pricing for this, I'm like, hey, if I hit this, I'm just gonna freaking fire out. So we go to the flop, and the pot's already 650, right? So I hit a bottom set. There's a flush draw out there. I figure, we got a 3-bet, we got a raise and a re-raise. I'm gonna put them on aces or kings or queens or a big pair, right? So I just fire out all in to overshoot it to show that, hey, maybe I'm gonna flush draw. So basically folds, and he just tells me, hey, nice bet. And Turtle, it was up to Turtle, and then what he does is sort of surprised me too. He pretty much instant called right there for 1.7k all in. So I overbetted, and I got called off because I knew one of them would have overpair. I did not expect to coin flip pretty much for a flush draw. And he asked me how many times I want to run it, and I said it's up to you. And he just said one time. I'm like, all right, it's fine with me. And after seeing the replay here on the turn, he had more outs. He had an open-ender, so he ended up like a bunch of outs. And I'm like, then after I watched this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I sort of got lucky on this, real lucky. So I stacked him for all his chips here, and I come out of the slump that I did earlier today, early in that session, and get in a positive run from here. So the hand actually paid off. I sort of overbetted to figure that I want to get aces and kings to call me at this point, but ended up getting a flush draw to gamble. So get that pot in. All right, this hand is a little bit controversial. Between the I rewatched this hand, and Casey and Justin was talking about this hand. This was the hand right after the pocket four set all in for a 4K pot. So it's right. I'm still stacking my chips at this point, and I was dealt pocket aces. So what happened was that I laid out at $75, and we got Turtle calling and AC calling, right? So I'm sorry, I didn't lay it out the button. I was in the button, and I bet out 75 on the flop, and at this point, Turtle called. I'm like, okay, this guy's maybe steaming or something. And when he fired into the pot at $100, and I just thought he only had $300 behind, $400 behind. Okay, so since I thought he had 300, 400 behind, I sort of want to isolate between him and me. So that I went all in just to figure that, hey, Turtle's gonna call me no matter what. So I figured that you might have a queen or a jack, you'll give me a call, and that's the reason why I overbet that. It's not like I was scared. Casey, I wasn't scared of my pocket aces. I thought he only had $400 that he rebought it for. That's why I pretty much went all in just to isolate between me and him. So that's what usually happened. Usually I would value this bet. I would have probably raised it to 400. But if I bet 400, I thought he's gonna be all in. So I thought I'm gonna just neutralize him. So that's the reason why I played this way. If you think that I should have still played it different, I don't know, because I think whatever I raised, they're not gonna call me anyway. So that's how that would have worked out. All right, so here's the other hand. I was dealt pocket threes, and the blinds again 5, 5, 10, and there was a straddle, so I was under the gun +1. I don't know how it's gonna work if it's a 5, 5, 10 blind, and if it's the next person's gonna be under the gun or under the gun +1. Either way, I was first to act because the straddle was 20, so it was 10 and 20. Pretty much, what I do here is I just flat call. Just to see, pocket pairs. I like to see where everyone's at. I want to see a raise. I'm gonna do call a raise, depending on the value of what people bet. And so right here, as you can see me, I'm watching the videos from the before broadcast to see what's going on and how people bet, so I can get a more better idea of how people are betting. Basically calls the 20. Dave calls a 20, and Wolf calls 20. AC folds, Kathy calls, and then Dan to the right of me. He plays pretty solid. He made it 100, and I just instant called. figuring that I'm gonna get all these other people to call. Normally I would neutralize it between him and me, but pocket three is not good enough for it to re-raise. I figure I'm just gonna call and get another 4 people or 5 people to call. That way we can get the pot bigger. That was sort of my thinking at this point. I say I'm gonna instant call this just to make it good because the pot was, like already 100, 200 or so. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna make another call, get 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 2.5 to 1 to call, and then now at this point everyone can call like almost 3 to 1. If but it ended up everyone folding, so it's just escalated between me and Dan. Next to me, he's a pretty solid player. At this point, I put him on a bigger pocket pair. I figure because he bet out, so he bet out right here. I think 150 or so. I want to say 155, and I sort of want to a little bit slow down, figuring I might be on a draw, so I called him a 155. The 7 comes out. He sort of like hesitated a little bit. So then at this point I'm like, maybe he might be on a draw at this point. Maybe he has ace king or something. It doesn't seem like he's as strong as he is. So I figure, you know what? I fear that he might be on a draw. Let me just push it all in. And that's what happened. Like I could have called him for another 300, let him fire off the river to see what he would have done in the river. I think it's just a safer bet just to end the hand right here and just take it down. All right, this hand is one of my favorites. I was dealt pocket tens, as you can see, and I limped in for 10. It goes all the way to Robert, or oh no, it was a straddle. That's what it was, $20 straddle, made by Baisley. I was a big blind, and Robert made it to 100. So I called him. I flat called 100 for 10, for pocket tens, to see where other people were at. And it basically he actually takes a pretty long time. Sort of annoys me, but some people do play longer than other people. But I like fast paced poker. I like to make decisions right away, call, instant call, re-raise. I don't take too much time thinking about that stuff. All right, so basically makes a call. Turtle with his 4 deuce. Surprised he didn't call there. He's getting like 3 to 1. So it's up to us 3 here. Flop comes out 859 rainbow. I check it to see pretty much. I wasn't worried about Baisley at all. I was just worried about Robert because Robert is a very solid player, and I knew he probably had a monster hand, or at this point I wanted to see what he would bet out since the pot was about 300, and we both checked it to him. He fired 250. I don't think it was 250. That didn't seem right. I think it was like 150. And I just repop him to figure out, okay, if he has aces or kings, at this point, he'll re-raise me again. If he re-raise me again, then I know that I'm dead. But I re-raise it to 400. 150 was not, this is not correct. It was 150 to 400. So he bet 150 and then I re-raised to 400. So Jack came on the turn. I figured I'm going to fire out here. If he does have pocket aces or pocket kings, he would instant call or he would re-raise me. And this is where the Jack sort of helped me to get an open end, but I did not know that he had pocket queens here. And for him to have pocket queens here, it was a sort of a hard for him to call this bet with 700. And he was thinking about, like what could I bet here with? Why am I re-raising him on the flop? So he knew that at this point either I had a set of 9s, 8s, or 5s. That's what he was putting me on, 9, 8s, or 5s. So he laid it down, which I thought it was good the whole time. I thought he was an ace king. So after seeing this video, seeing that he had queens there, I can see why he laid it down. After he asked me, he's like, "Hey, what did you have?" I said, "I had an overpair," and he's like, "Oh." He knew that he had me beat, so that's how this hand went down. Okay, this hand is the last hand I'm gonna vlog about or talk about regarding the session. This is one of my, I guess, my revealing of what happened throughout the whole day. So I was dealt 7-4, and I was in the big blind, or basically the 5-5-10, so pretty much the big blind of a straddle 10. Basically makes it under the gun. He raises to 30 at this point. Betting $30, 30 to 40 is pretty regular in this game. Sort of a little bit lower than usually on a 5-5-10 game. It usually goes to 50 or 60. You know, we've been playing pretty conservative here, betting 30 to 40, which is an easy call for me. So I said, you know, I'm gonna make an easy call, $30 at this point to see where we're at. Flop comes out 4-8-9. We're having a lot of fun. We're talking, we're joking around, we're having a lot of fun. But at the same time, while I'm joking a lot of fun, you know, I'm studying these players. You know, I don't realize, you know, I might be, you know, having fun and not paying attention, but I am really paying attention. And at this point, he bets out 60, and I see that AC comes in. I'm like, okay, I knew I wasn't probably good right here, so I just make the call. The turn comes out of deuce, it bricks. I check it, and I was just watching while I'm laughing and having fun. I'm watching basically betting here, see what he's doing here, to see, you know, his betting patterns and things like that. And even though like I might be oblivious to what's going on with the poker game, but I'm really paying attention of how he's betting and what he's betting at, on the pot size and everything. So the pot size was 310, and he makes it pretty decent. He makes it, you know, more than half pot here. And something wasn't right. I was like, okay, why would he bet that much starting off? And he wasn't really pushing it in the beginning. So depending on what AC did, if he called, I would have folded. If he called, I would have folded. He folded thing. I was like, I'm gonna instant call this. And I knew at this point I was good no matter what, unless it hit a flush. I didn't know he had a 10-7 right here at an open end, but I was just trying to avoid anything higher than a 9 and a flush club card. That's the only thing I was waiting for. And I said, whatever he bets here, I'm gonna instant call. And he took some time to look at the pot and see what he's gonna bet. And he made a pretty big bet here. I said, didn't matter what he bet, I'm just gonna instant call. So I just threw the chip in to instant call because I knew he was bluffing right there. And he said, like, he told me, like, how the hell did you make that call? Like, how, like, what did I do, or what did you know that you made that call? Then after the stream was over, I told him exactly what happened. So I found the tell that he had, which I'm not gonna share with you guys because he's gonna be playing more Stones at live. And I told him what made me call him. So that was that. The game was really fun. I had a good time. And hopefully, you know, I'll come back and play again next time when I'm able to make it back up north to Sacramento area. So, guys, appreciate you guys watching this vlog. Make any comments, like, subscribe. Let me know. You know, any comments are good. How do I play? You know, seems like I did play a little bit more passive than I normally would, but I'll bring out more videos and more vlogging here. All right, thanks, guys.
Against you, I'm betting.
It was 5, just in case. Well,
How much you got? Let me see.